Okay, Korome, let's take a look at your week 4 assignment 2 here. One big issue here is that, well, two big issues. One big issue is that your file size is minuscule. It's 216 by 180 pixels. Should have at least 800 by 600, so it's about 4 times smaller than what we want from a file size. This is problematic because it's very difficult to make out any of the textural stuff that you're doing, on the fabric that's there. And I think the other issue is that the image that you're using in the guidelines, it says that it has to have an image of a person, a place, or a product. And so this is just kind of text with the pattern that's behind it. There's not really any Greeking in place, which is also something that we want to see. And so you have to kind of make sure, one is that it's kind of qualifying for what we're looking for, and two is try to include as much as you can what's there. I think going in with the Greeking of the text, you could go in with the colored pencil very heavily and just kind of lay in some very quick line work to show where the text is below it. And this is something that is really necessary so that when you're doing anything like this, you have to kind of show all the elements that are going to be in play in the composition. And so that having even the white lines in place, just kind of showing where text is going to help with the layout. I also think the layout is a little bit off in terms of the proportions. I feel like this is much kind of longer, higher, and the text is a little bit kind of stretched out long-wise, and in yours everything kind of feels compressed. I'm not sure if maybe it isn't that way, maybe you adjusted it when you saved it, but which is very much a possibility, but that's also another issue. So the drawing itself, I think for what is there is good, although I can't really see the textural stuff in place because it's so small. The text looks good. It feels like it's reproducing the actual text that's in the ad, but the problem is that it's a very simplistic ad. It doesn't have a lot of transitions in terms of value. There's really nothing in terms of kind of a value change or shading or three-dimensional form, which is why we want to have an object, a person, or a place in it. And so it ends up feeling very flat. And I think the other, for me at least, and for you, is that it doesn't give you a good insight into kind of dealing with the process that we dealt with in the last assignment and how to apply it to a much bigger kind of subject matter, which is what this assignment is for. And then you're going to be moving on to an even bigger subject matter with the next assignment, where you're dealing with an entire interior with all these things like cabinets and tables and sinks and objects on those things. So I think this just doesn't really kind of hit all the requirements it needs to. What is in place, I think, does a nice job of reproducing the ad, although it again has its limitations, but I think it's also just such a simplistic kind of ad in the first place that I really feel like we're missing out on a lot of the other kinds of things that we want to deal with.